see locations of where people are liking or making downloads, I should say. And one of the locations is Columbus, Ohio. So I just want to thank everyone from Columbus, Ohio. They're one of the third highest downloads for us. I don't know who they are because I don't know who they are, and I don't think Brian knows who they are, and I don't know if my brother knows who they are, but we appreciate everyone. But coming from the third highest after Boston and Manhattan for downloads, it's appreciated. Anyone in Columbus, Ohio is listening to us, and I hope they continue to listen to us. We don't bore them.
Yeah, and also the listener in Kazakhstan, we want to say we appreciate you in Kazakhstan.
I don't know if it's saying Kazakhstan.
Oh, maybe I'm sorry, wrong podcast.
Yeah, that wasn't on this podcast. We weren't discussing CIA and tunnels.
So Derek, man, I watched one of my first full playoff games last night, the Bruins versus Islanders, Bruins and the Islanders. And help me understand the face-off where the referee pump fakes the puck, like he's faking to drop the puck, and then the center guy goes to get it, and he goes for the fake that the referee.
Yeah, I don't know what the pump. I mean, what happens is the rule that they implemented years ago is that you give a warning if you're dropping the puck and you're the first, you jump in early. The second time you're thrown out of the face-off circle and someone else comes in. In some instances, they'll call a penalty. So, but the fake pump, I don't know. I didn't see the whole game, so I didn't see that. But yeah, you shouldn't be doing that. I don't know what's going on with that.
I just feel like it's a fake pump intentionally to see if the guy's gonna go for it or not. I don't know. I don't watch hockey like I used to. But I've watched the last couple of times the Bruins have gone deep into the playoffs, and it's the two things that I've noticed from much different from when I was really young and used to watch them. So the two things: number one is that face-off rule, and then the second thing is the icing rule. Like back in the 80s and 90s, you had to touch it up. Now they just call the icing. I think that's to help with checking and that kind of thing.
To avoid injuries and everything else. It's tough for me because I don't really watch hockey as I used to because being a Sabres fan, the only time I'm getting upset is watching the lousy play of them, and I want to throw my TV into the Atlantic Ocean. So, that's not something I regularly watch. So, but I've caught up on the rules, and I'm still a sports follower, and I love the NHL. So yeah, they did change quite a bit of the rules. One of them icing after the face-off and challenges too, right? If you do a challenge and you're wrong, you get a penalty. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, you didn't know because the challenges started in the NFL, and I remember that was kind of a big deal when and now it's every sport.
The NFL, they challenge it. They review every freaking play.
Yeah, it seems like every sport. Does tennis have it? I don't know if golf doesn't.
I think tennis has some form of it, but with college football, I never understood it. I think they review literally every play. I mean, everything's reviewed. So when a coach calls for a review of a play, I'm thinking to myself, are you really that brain dead? I mean, if they thought there was something to be reviewed, they would have called it, the league. But that's beside the point. Yeah. But this weekend was, I know you were just mentioning before we started, you went away, even though the weather was god awful and I was getting ready for Halloween and getting my Thanksgiving turkey ready, felt like.
Right.
Yeah. But you had a good weekend, you said, right?
Yeah. So most of the listeners know by now, we live up in New England, up in the Merrimack Valley area of Massachusetts, which is on the border of New Hampshire. For those in Kazakhstan and listening to us, it's on the map. Kazakhstan. So we went up to York. And for those of us that are in New England, it got cold. It got cold and it got rainy, but we still were able to enjoy our time up in York without going into all super details. It was a lot of fun. A lot of my friends. You
had family time, right?
It was strictly family time, and that's the one thing over the pandemic I think that I've taken away. We talk about, I guess we probably talked about it more than one occasion about our pandemic takeaways. Mine is certainly appreciating the time with my kids because. Man, it goes for those who have kids, or Derek, if you have young kids in your family, man, they grow like weeds. They grow so quickly. And when you travel, I remember when they were really young, when they were super young. I was like when they were first born. I used to travel a lot outbound. So I was in Boston.
Yeah.
Now I'm based in Boston myself, a different location, so I'm going to that location a lot. But when I was younger, I missed, and I would see it, again, when I was not traveling, I would notice it. Now after a full year of not traveling, it's like, wow, their personalities, which can be good and bad depending on the day. So
I was waiting for your daughter to after you went upstairs to say, try to get offline so you guys weren't fighting for the internet. That I was waiting for the comments.
Yeah. We're gonna have
her
her
go pound sand.
Right. We're gonna both have her and Gavin soon join us on a podcast.
We'll have a special broadcast.
Have them say hello to our guest. So, but
and we have an interesting guest tonight, which is gonna be good on, and I think it's gonna delve into tonight mental and physical health.
So we're gonna get in Derek. We're gonna get in the health and wellness space. I think that's been so important for all of us. We've had a couple of guests that have sort of been there and touched on it, especially on the mental piece of it.
Yeah.
Super excited.
May was mental health awareness month.
Yeah. And I've seems like most of these guests, we have a direct or indirect connection, or we've created one to bring them to this podcast. And Sam, who we'll introduce when she joins us, we'll talk about. But I can't. For me, exercising was so incredibly helpful for me to get through the pandemic.
During the pandemic. Yeah, without a doubt.
I wasn't able to go to the gym, so I had to kind of make do with my home gym. And as like everything else, it was almost impossible to.
Well, just getting outside, I'm sure, right? Just getting outside, getting fresh air. I mean, you couldn't meet people, but at least you could go outside, go for a walk. I did a walk from my house to the reservation and back, and that's a couple miles, and it adds up over a week of doing it. So I'm sure it's gardening for you, right?
That was another thing, gardening. In fact, I was out there watering earlier. But yeah, Derek, you're right. I'm just even going outside and go for a walk. Melanie and I, we did it this morning. We did it, I think, every day last week. We just go for a walk around our neighborhood. It's our time for us to talk, and we're not distracted by our phones and the kids and stuff. So, but yeah, man, it's so awesome, the fresh air. And for me personally, because I wasn't traveling last year, I think I've told you a couple of times, I worked out on my deck.
Yeah.
And I'm convinced the vitamin D, which is so good for you.
Oh, without a doubt.
And we'll certainly have Sam touch on some of that stuff, hopefully, during her time with us, and the importance of getting outside. But yeah, man, I not that I'm a huge exercise person, but I've certainly over the last year or so really appreciated it.
Just getting out and going for a walk, and it's just getting, that, and it does a lot to you feel like you've accomplished something. Just exercising, it releases, I don't know, I'm sure there's something, the endorphins or whatever you want to call it, that it releases, and it gets you in a better mood. You feel like you've accomplished something for the day. You feel good about yourself.
You
start eating better, especially if you get sugar out of your system. And